All right, let's change these standard form equations into vertex form. So, completing the square, that's what we're doing here, right? That's what it's called. So we're going to say y is equal to, and I'm just going to rewrite this thing a little bit different. I'm going to write this as x squared minus 6x. I'm going to leave a space, and I'm going to write plus 7 on the outside. Okay, I haven't changed anything. I'm just written it a little bit different. All right, now, next part. Y is equal to, and what we're going to do is take half of this number. So we're going to say x minus 3. That was the half of it, right? And then that's going to be squared. So that's what we're going to do there. And the next thing we're going to do is we need to figure out, okay, what number goes in here to make it x minus 3, because I haven't quite figured out what the last part of that is. So remember, then we square this number. So that's going to be positive 9 goes in there. So now this is this. So we're good there. But we all of a sudden just added a 9. We can't go around just adding 9s to equations. So we also need to subtract a 9. So let's kind of finish up what we have here. We've got x minus 3, and then positive 7 minus 9. We're left with negative 2. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I think it'll help if we just do a lot of these. So let's rewrite this again. So I'm going to say y is equal to x minus 2 plus 8x. I'm going to leave a space, and I'm going to put 10 on the outside. Now we're going to say y is equal to, and it's going to be x plus 4, right? Half of this number gave me this one. That's going to be squared. And then I got to figure out what goes in there. Well, that's going to be 4 squared goes in there. So that's going to be 16 and positive 16. But I can't just go around adding 16s all over the place. I need to subtract the 16 to keep it the same equation. Okay, so now the last thing we just got to do is go 10 minus 16. This is minus 4. Oop. Yeah. All right, next one. So I'm going to write this a little bit different. We're going to say x squared minus 4x, leave a space, and then minus 2. Okay, and this will be y is equal to x minus 2 squared. I got to figure out what goes in here. Well, that's going to be negative 2 squared, so positive 4. I can't just go around adding positive 4s to things. I need to subtract a 4 as well. So then we're left with negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Okay, we're going to y is equal to x squared plus 5x, leave a space, we'll say plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to go down, I'm going to say y is equal to, now, don't worry about this one, we're still going to just take half of 5 and we're going to write it as 5 over 2. Oh, not x. And then that's squared. And now what goes up here, we're going to do the same thing. It's going to be 5 over 2 squared. So what do you get if you go 5 over 2 squared? Well, you square the top and you square the bottom. So this is 25 over 4. So that's what's going to have to go in here. So we're going to have 25 over 4. And it was positive. But you can't just go around, positive. You can't just go around adding 25 over 4. So we need to subtract 25 over 4. Now we need to subtract these fractions. I know for some reason people don't like this, but let's just do it over here. So we've got 1 minus 25 over 4. Well, I need to rewrite this 1 as, instead of that, I'm going to write it as 4 over 4, because they need to have the same denominator, right? So minus 25 over 4. So this becomes negative 21 over 4. So in the end here, we've got minus 21 over 4. Okay, last one here. So we got this one now. So let's kind of do the same thing we've been doing. We'll go y is equal to, and we're going to say it's going to be 2x squared plus 12x. I'm going to leave a space. I'm going to say plus 11. All right, now, this is a problem. We can't really deal with this 2 in front of the x squared like this. That just doesn't jive well with what we're doing. But luckily, I've got 2 here and I've got 12 here. I can factor out a 2 because they're common to both. It doesn't need to be involved in this one either. I can factor by grouping. I can just look at these two and take out that, as long as I put the brackets in there to show that I'm just talking about this part of the equation. So if we do that, we can rewrite this as y is equal to, I'm going to pull the 2 out, and we're going to have x squared plus 6x, and still have the bracket, and then plus 11. So now we can deal with this. Now we can start to turn this into a perfect square. All right. So the way we're going to do that is going to be the same as before. So we're going to say y is equal to 2. The 2 just kind of hangs out there. I'm going to have x plus 3. And that's going to be squared, and then it's going to be something after that, right? But what goes in here? Well, same as before. It's going to be 3 squared, so this will be 9. And here's the kind of tough bit to think about. Normally, I would just say, okay, yeah, so I can't just go around adding 9s. I'm going to have to subtract a 9, and then that's where we're at. But no, it's not quite like that. And the reason why it's not is because of this dirty 2 out front. Because now that we introduced this 9, right, like we just introduced this to the equation to kind of write it different, it wasn't actually a 9 that we introduced at all. It was an 18. Oh. Because 2 times that 9 that's in there, really, we introduced 18 to this equation now. So we aren't going to subtract 9. We need to subtract 18. So it's going to be 11 minus 18, so negative 7. Okay, so hopefully you guys did okay following that kind of logic. I just want to show you one last little bit of a confusion. Let's say that this was actually... let's say there was like a negative sign there and a negative sign there, right? That was negative and that was negative. Let's do that one quick. So that would be y is equal to negative 2x squared minus 12x plus 11. So if I did this one, it's going to be, I'm still going to take out negative 2 this time. And that's going to be x squared plus 6x because I took the negative out. Leave a space, and still got 11 out there. Now, we're going to do the same type of thing. We're going to say negative 2, it's going to be x plus 3 squared. I got to figure out what goes in there. Well, you'd say, okay, well, a 9 goes in there, so plus 9. But now, this negative that I introduced here, that makes things just a little bit different again, because it looks as though I've introduced a positive 9 to this equation, but again, we have to think about this number multiplied by that number. I've really introduced not positive 18, I've introduced negative 18. That's what I've introduced into this equation. So I can't just go around like having a negative 18 be put into this equation. So I also need to add 18. So you do it, that might kind of confuse you a little bit. You do the opposite of like what you would think, because you need to go, since this was a negative 18 that was introduced, we have to add 18. So this, in this case, this would end up being plus 29 in the end, right? Okay, so that's going to be it for that one. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.